Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. The Daily Compliance News for Friday the 13th, that's May 13th, 2022, the Does KPMG Finally Get It edition. And we begin with that story from the Financial Times. Reports that KPMG partners in the United Kingdom risk losing a share of £300 million over ethical standards. Partners in the UK office have been told they risk forfeiting their share of proceeds retained from sales of pension and insolvency divisions that fail to meet ethical standards. The strengthening of the link between the partners' behavior and the financial rewards come after a string of regulatory and fines and investigations into the UK operations work and the high-profile exit of partners in recent years following allegations of bullying and other misconduct. KPMG told the Financial Times it would also spend another £2 million a year to fund the hiring of additional senior resources who will be focused on conduct. So you have to wonder, will KPMG finally get it? Well, given the culture in the United Kingdom, all we can say is we certainly hope so. Next up, from Above the Law, I believe a first-time contributor to the Daily Compliance News, they raised the question is, will the seizing of the Putin-linked yacht raise corruption awareness? Figuring out who really owns a mega yacht should not be such a difficult thing. But this is a part of a broader story of how anti-corruption, anti-money laundering, trade sanctions, and export controls has become much more high profile because of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. So we can only hope that this will continue to raise the profile of these issues. Do you want to do business with the state of Texas? Well, you may take a huge reputational hit. According to Reuters, British funds that invest with and handle money for the state of Texas' $1.4 billion Teachers Pensions Fund have responded to the state's request for information about their pulling out of energy companies because of reputational damages. And they've said that, we can't exist in today's market if we can't talk about these things and take them into consideration. Of course, the myopic state of Texas doesn't understand that, and they want to pollute as much as they can. But the rest of the world doesn't see it that way, so it's going to be interesting. And finally, from The Guardian, that sinkhole of corruption, or perhaps stinkhole of corruption, the Trump Tower in Washington, D.C., has been sold. The name's off of the Pennsylvania Avenue Hotel, and the completion of the sale of the lease to investors in Florida. At one point, House Democrats estimated the former president will reportedly gain $100 million from the sale once the loan for the renovations has paid off. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.